Hey guys, it's just Adi from MA Fitness, and today I'm here with one of my clients, Mel. Mel, please say hello.
Hello, guys.
So Mel has been one of my clients for what? It's over 30 months now, and it's about 2.5 years we've been training together.
Yes, I would say so.
So Mel's got a bit of an interesting story, so I'll try and get him to explain more about what we've been through and all that different stuff, and I'll just try and ask some questions. So what was it about? What made you come to the decision that you needed to get yourself into fitness?
Basically, a heart attack. I had a heart attack in 2016, which led me to go to a facility called Heart Care from the hospital, which led me then to Fairlawns and then on to MA Fitness.
So what was it like after your heart attack? Was it a big heart attack or?
Fairly serious. They advised me to do some exercise as part of my rehabilitation, which was fine to begin with, but I lost the motivation. And then a friend suggested I go to Fairlawns, where she was a member. And that led me eventually, through the instructor I met there, to MA Fitness.
Yeah,
And I've never looked back, really.
fantastic. So obviously you were doing some basic exercise at Heart Care, and then
Very basic, unfocused, but it was all programmed for people with very weakened conditions through heart attack. So it was quite low key, and I kind of lost the motivation, stopped going as one can with exercise, and then went on to Fairlawns, where it was much more focused, and I had a program. I had targets which I met, and I found that it was much better structured,
so did
suited
you
me
so
down to the ground.
how did you feel before you went to Fairlawns? What was it? What were the emotions? What were you thinking? What
It
was going through your mind?
well,
Have
it
you
was
ever been
fairly.
part of a gym before?
No, I'd never been into sport at all. Um, so it was a bit intimidating to start with, but I was fortunate in finding the right instructor quite by chance. And it went on from there. I found that I was motivated, obsessed, I think, to begin with, going so often, but the results were there. The loss of weight, the everything I was told by my instructor that I could achieve, I achieved, and I felt both physically and mentally strong.
So before that, though, let's say, for example, you walking up to the doors of the building, what were you feeling?
Trepidation, to put it in one word. I'd never played sport. I'd never been competitive, but I discovered a streak of competitiveness. Let's get it right, in me, with myself to achieve those goals.
Okay.
And it was good, very good. Changed my life, really.
But I know you said to me that when once we got to know each other at the gym and that sort of stuff, that you almost felt a bit inadequate to go there, or you didn't quite have the self-efficacy to want to go into the building. So was there a fear that you'd be judged, or was there what were your fears?
Yes, judgment, yes. Intimidation, but it was very good. I've made friends, both of the staff and of other clients, and it's just gone from strength to strength. And then when MA Fitness was set up by my instructor from Fairlawns, I felt that I wanted to go with him because the benchmark would remain high. I would remain motivated, and I felt that whatever I was told I could achieve, I would be able to do it.
So
And
the cool
that's,
thing that you say is the instructor from Fairlawns, obviously that being me. Um,
yes.
what did you feel when you first met me? Were you scared of what I was going to potentially make you do, or were you just a little bit, you know, it's
In
quite for me. It's quite it's a difficult thing when you meet someone new who's about to tell you what to do. That you might get a little bit, you know, oh, what's this person like? Are they going to try and kill me? What? Because I think that's the general fear of people when they come into gyms.
Yes, I suppose so.
Although I
Yes, I
did try to
suppose
kill
there's.
you.
I suppose there was some evidence of that. Yes, but I did feel we gelled very well from the word go. There was a certain amount of humour, banter even between us. I do remember being told that you, as instructor, had enjoyed my initiation. I was just aching and
As the rest
weary,
do.
and I ached for about 3 days. But I've learnt the old adage, no pain, no gain, is true. Um, and it's a good kind of tiredness, a kind of pain. It's an achievement, and there's no achievement without a price. And I just find it strengthens the body, it strengthens the mind, and because my heart attack came from, I do believe, bereavement because I lost my partner. It gave me strength. It was a new chapter in my life, and a new me, I suppose.
Okay, but obviously we got off on the right foot. I remember your initiation was really good actually because everything I said that you were just open to listen to, which was really quite good. Obviously, your first month of programming, did you find it was a really nice program to get you into because it was simple yet effective.
It
Um,
was tough
but we
but
changed,
structured.
yeah, and I think that's the question I'm coming on to is what was the second program like? Because I know you didn't enjoy this program, so what was it that you didn't really enjoy?
Um, I'm a very structured person. I like routine. I like machinery because you have to work with the machine. I don't like have free weights or anything like that because my body needs to be the machine, and I always think that I'm never got it quite right. Um, and yes, the second program was a hurdle to get over.
But we changed it quite quickly.
Tweaked it, and
Yeah,
you do your best. You learn that you. It's not. It's not absolute. There's no absolutes. There's always room for the individual to have the program that suits them,
yeah.
and you can still achieve the goals, but not always on the same path as other people.
I think in the industry you've got to find what people enjoy because personally I do enjoy. I don't mind free weights. I don't mind resistance equipment, but I'm not a huge cardio fan. So I have to try and make it work for me. I can't do hours and hours of running. Although playing football before, but I can't do hours and hours of running. And you have to find what works for you. And I was actually really quite pleased that you told me that you weren't enjoying the program because I think had you not told me you weren't enjoying the program, you'd have either gone to. Obviously, at the time we had really good instructors, so I wouldn't have minded who you had gone to. But I always had a certain belief that I had something a little bit special to offer. And
Well,
you told me straight away that you weren't happy with it. We changed it and we got back onto the right route.
the problem really was with me and not with the program or you as instructor. You simply had to assess what suited me, which you did, and we went on from there. It's it's not all about sort of textbook, is it? It's there's room for manoeuvre.
I'm very glad you've said that, because I think that's the biggest issue in my industry at the moment. Is too much of it is textbook fitness. It's read that a certain amount of reps does this, or if you do X, this will happen. That's not the case. I mean, obviously, working with yourself, I mean, you started very, very late. I mean, what age did you start training at properly?
About
59?
60, 61.
60. And so as you
60,
can
I think.
imagine, obviously, you starting that you always get here. Well, you always hear that you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Well, you clearly can, because you've completely transformed your life with exercise.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, it's part of my life. It's not an adjunctive to my life. It's not something that, as a hobby, it is an integral part of my life, and I can't see that changing.
Well, you've made it a discipline rather than a motivation. You go to the gym, or you come to me 4 to 5 times a week,
Yes, yeah,
which
absolutely.
is a very good thing, and I'm really, really happy with that. So when you were coming to Fair Launch, you started off at a 36 or 38 waist, one of the two.
Getting towards 38, yes, and
So
I lost
and
over
you got
two
down
stone.
to okay,
A
wow,
30 waist. I could get into 30-inch waist jeans,
and that was about
which
6
was,
months.
I guess it was really. I mean, it just seemed to
Yeah,
drop off, and that was
it
what was
was.
expected.
It was six pro. I mean, I remember when I rewrote the second program for you. That was the time where it literally, every time I saw you, you looked different, and that's that alarm phase. That's that reaction phase that I talk about quite a lot. Is that because it was new and because it was exciting and your body didn't know what to do with it, it just went into a phase of where it went, I've got to do something here. And it did the thing that we wanted to do. You built muscle and you burnt fat, which obviously is the key of what we were trying to do. Now,
Yeah,
we spent about 12 months together at Fair Lawns before I decided to branch out and start MA Fitness. What was the biggest difference between programming, which we did at Fair Lawns, and personal training that we did, obviously, at Studio MA?
the difference. Well, you go to Fair Launch, you have your program, but you don't have one-to-one instruction. So you can, to a degree, wax and wane. Have bad days and not push yourself. It's with MA Fitness, it's a one-to-one organisation, which means that I know I'm going to do what is set for today, and always push the envelope. And I think that's good, because the benchmark is always high, but not unachievable high. So I think one-to-one fitness is better, really, than having to motivate yourself. However, you make friends in the gym,
Yeah.
like at Fair Lawns, and that can also motivate you. You meet friends, they're doing their program, and then you can join them, and that's the camaraderie can help too.
I think with Fair Lawns, what the best bit about Fair Lawns is, for me, and I know I work with some great staff and I've made some really good friends there, but it was the members. I mean, I did everything I possibly could for them, which was my favourite part of the job was being in the gym, speaking to the members, trying to help people out. But obviously you came at a certain time, and obviously we had some really good people at that time, and it was nice to see you sort of integrating with them and becoming part of what was like the midday community.
Yes, it was quite a coterie,
Yeah,
really.
I think the guys that came midday as well, it was lovely to always see you help each other, because there were certain times of the day where you'd have certain different people that you were coming in at those times, But they were coming in periods where they could all talk to each other. And I'd never been to a place like that before. I'd always been to a place where the headphone goes in, you don't know what time you're going to see people. And that was totally different. That was seeing people coming in, and you knew they were going to come in at this time. If you were in the gym at that time, you were going to see them. And it was always the same with yourself. So I know I could teach a couple of classes, walk through the door, and you were going to be there, which is always great to see. But does that help you in terms of your motivation and staying on top of things, that you know that someone's going to be coming through the door, a friendly face, to say,
I think so.
Or try this, or put your body in a different position? That was always the big one for me.
I think having gym pals is good, but I also think that training one-to-one is very good. It's very focused, and also it takes the onus off you.
There's less thinking.
You don't. And you've got it exclusively, which is very good, because where you're sharing a gym with people, sharing equipment, you can get stymied. You know, someone will be on a machine that you want to use, and then you don't get a chance to use it on that day. And for me, that's a bit frustrating.
Yeah.
Whereas when I go to M&A Fitness, I know that I shall have the gym exclusively. There'll be no one getting under my feet.
Yeah. I think that's my biggest benefit to MA Fitness, that it is one-to-one, and it makes you appreciate what a facility can actually do on a one-to-one basis, because obviously training with, you know, celebrities, sports stars, all these different things, the vast majority of them get that exclusivity. And I think a lot of people wonder why a celebrity or a sports star could get into shape so much easier than someone else. It's because they can afford to have that exclusivity.
Exactly.
Now, obviously, I've tried to make that available for everyone, where time can allow that. But there is one big thing that you mentioned at the start that I would like to come on to, and obviously you haven't got to talk about it if you don't want to, but you've mentioned a lot, is Andrew, your ex-partner. What was that like when you know, I know you've always explained to me how good the guy was, so, you know, was that something that made you want to start fitness, or did you do fitness with Andrew or anything like that?
We had sort of dipped a toe in it, because where we worked there was the facility. First there was a small gym on site, and then we were given membership at a gym, but we were never really focused. It was always more intent than actually doing anything. But then Andrew died, and my life had to change and discover a new path, a new chapter. And it was very difficult. 12 months of despair. Bereavement is a very, very difficult issue. There's no answers. So the heart attack was another factor, which led me to the gym. I just regret that I'd never done anything like it when I was younger.
And why do you think that? Why do you think that is? Why do you think you didn't do anything earlier in life?
Because I'm going to be very stereotypical here. Most gay men are not competitive, and I think to take up a sport of any sort, you need to be competitive, particularly a team sport. And I still don't like team sports because I'm not a team player, I'm an individual. But the gym as such, as it stands for me now, I can compete with myself. I can
kind
push
like
myself. I guess so. Like any individual sport, I suppose. And you can have the achievement and the good feelings of doing it without... you're not letting anyone down but yourself at the end of the day if you don't achieve.
I understand that completely. Now, obviously, you talk about being a gay man. What we've spoke about this before. Is I think with you're going to know a lot more about this than me, but you've alluded to the fact before that the gay community seems more aesthetic focused than personality focused. I might be wrong in what I'm saying there, but you know, am I right in saying that? Or
great deal of truth, yes. Well, I think that we're very focused on appearance, aren't we? The wider world is, but I think it becomes very judgmental. It can be very judgmental in the gay community. Youth is a saleable commodity, and age is not a thing you can sell readily. So I think if you can present the best possible appearance, whatever age you are, and I also think that exercise will hopefully keep you moving into old age. We can't avoid aging, but we can try and make the best job of it we can, and you know, keep the muscles strong, help the joints, and keep moving. Because they say if you don't use it, you lose it. So you've got to keep going.
I mean, from my point of view, I always find that with older people that come into the gym, it does stimulate mentality like you wouldn't believe. I mean, I would say that everybody over, well, to be honest, I think everyone should be into fitness, but especially over 55s should definitely be taking part in physical activity. I mean, have you noticed a difference in everyday life, or you know, are things easier for? I mean, obviously dropping from a 36 to a 30 waist is great. I mean, I think we went down to 28 at one point, but that didn't look quite right. So we've bought the muscle out a little bit more.
I was very thin.
Does that make a difference to everyday life?
Of course, confidence. It gives you confidence. Yeah, absolutely, without a doubt. It's good, win.
Fantastic.
To my mind,
would you have changed anything? The last, I think it's 30 months. Would you have changed anything in those 30 months?
I wish I had a little more self-discipline with food. It's quite
always
difficult.
the hardest thing.
Because as a society, eating with people or offering people food or anything, tidbits, biscuits, what have you, come and have a cup of tea and a biscuit, and that can be a pitfall. It's very difficult to avoid and say no. So, I wish I could be more disciplined in that way. But
you find that with like the youth as well, because they're going out for, a night out or a drink or a meal out with their friends and all that different stuff. Obviously that happens in older life as well. But it's very, very difficult to say no. And it's very difficult to say no on the grounds of fitness as well, because it almost sounds quite pretentious that you say, do you want to come out for a meal? No. Oh, okay, what you got on? Well, to be honest with you, I'm looking after my figure. It almost sounds a bit, oh, wow, okay. And I've found that quite difficult, really, because obviously I like to look after myself. And I do think, although it shouldn't matter, image really does matter in the fitness industry, because if I looked not so good, then why would people want to train with me? Obviously, you've got to get to know somebody. I mean, I've trained with people before who've been out of shape and they've been absolutely phenomenal. But if I was ever going towards something, I'd want something that I aspire to be.
Lead by example.
I think
that's a good thing.
I think that's a good point. And to be honest with you, I live and breathe this. So does that rub off a little bit of any of your friends thought, well, I'll take up some fitness now because, I've seen what Mel does?
Not really, no, because I sort of, my friends are quite eclectic. So, I've got people who are in my life that are quite elderly. So I don't, actually, my friend who's 91 does still do exercises as far as he can, lifting the leg, standing on one leg and all this kind of thing. So maybe, yes, to a degree, some people have sort of done a little, took up walking, got a pair of dumbbells just to sort of do a bit of keeping the old body moving. The
big question I've got for you is, when you went from a 36 waist to a 30 waist, Did people notice?
Oh yes, most certainly. That's why they
I
want
think
to
that's a
feed me up.
really good thing to point out, is because when we look at results, we're looking at results from. I think you are always harder on yourself than you are on other people. So, for example, you've gone from a 36 to a 34. People would have gone, "Wow, Mel, you look amazing." Whereas you've gone, "Well, I want to go a little bit further than this." But when you go
Exactly.
from a 36 to a 30, 6 inches on a circumference is a lot. So, what were people saying? Was it because obviously at your age, I'm guessing they were saying, "Are you okay?"
Yeah, well, quite. Or you don't want to go too thin. Um, they wanted to preach moderation. Moderation in everything, moderation in everything. I got a little fed up of this, to be honest. So from somewhere, I managed to dredge up an expression of Oscar Wilde's, which was, moderation is fatal. Nothing succeeds like excess.
I
And
like
that was
it.
sort
I've
of,
never heard that before, but that's a really cool one. I've literally, of all the expressions I've heard you say, I've never heard you say that one.
well, there you are. I believe it's Oscar Wilde, and it sounds like Oscar Wilde, and it's sort of, that's the final thing, isn't it? There's nothing, there's no comeback after that one.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's successful by just having a go at it. They always become successful by becoming obsessed or in love with it, and
Yeah.
I think that's the reason why from a personal note, I've tried as hard as I can to get to this point now where I've got a one-to-one training facility. Is because I love it so much, and I think what I've seen in you over the last 30 months, 2 years, whatever it is you've almost fell in love with it a little bit. It gives you something else to focus on. It gives you that. I can almost tell when you haven't been to the gym, because I can tell by your mood.
Yeah. Um, I always know, even if I'm sort of weary, before I've gone, I think, well, do I go today? And I know that if I do, and I've discussed this with friends at Fairlawns, and they would agree that if you push yourself and you do your program, you do a routine, you will feel better afterwards. It's amazing. You can feel quite weary and tired, and yet you push yourself, and you find that, I suppose it's the endorphins you release. You feel good afterwards. You feel that
The
achievement.
thing is,
However,
a lot of people talk about that
small.
endorphin release, but until you've done something that really does, spike the endorphins, it's like something you've never done before. I mean, I remember the first time it ever happened to me was the first time I ever trained chest at Fitness First, and it was like I came out the gym and my chest was all pumped up and my arms was all pumped up, and I felt amazing. I couldn't wait to get to the gym the next day.
A drug.
And I think you've got to find that, because had your program have been poor in the beginning and you weren't happy with it, this is it brings me on to the biggest point of this: is you fell in love with exercise. And there are so many people out there that may be listening to this, or I don't know, have been there before, come into a gym, spent the first 2 months not knowing what they're doing, fell out of love with it as fast as they've gone into it with some motivation, and they've never done it again. And it breaks my heart a little bit, because I know how many people are out there that want to do something, but either don't feel like the knowledge, or they don't feel like they have got the self-worth to go in there. They think everyone's going to be fit. They think everyone's going to be gym honed and all that different stuff. What would you say to these people? As someone who's been at the bottom and is now somewhere near the top, what would you say?
Well, you all have to start somewhere. I think there's an element of luck in a way, because it's meeting or finding the right instructor, having confidence in that person, what they tell you can achieve, knowing you can achieve it, and it goes on from there. Just believe that you can do it, belief, and you'll find the benefits are many.
It's lovely to hear that. It's lovely to hear you say that, because at some point I know you haven't had belief. And
Oh well,
we
we all wax and wane.
Yeah,
There's all peaks and troughs in everybody's life. We don't always feel on a high, because if you have a high one day, you may have a low the next, but you have to have that contrast. That's life.
And it's great to see how well you've done, Mel, because you're a real, I would when I did the first LinkedIn video where I did your story, almost everybody that came up to me said, "Oh, Mel, that Mel is a lovely bloke," and that was really nice for me, because not only did everyone see how nice and how great you were, but they appreciated how well that you'd stuck to it, and you got some fitness benefit from it. And I do think you have motivated quite a few people to come in, because I know I've picked up 2 people off the back of how well have you've done, which is fantastic, and it's all credit to you for sticking with it and that sort of different stuff. So I really appreciate you coming on the channel, and obviously in this difficult time with the quarantine and all that different stuff. I know you've been keeping active and all that sort of stuff, so I appreciate that as well. But just wanted to say really well done on what you've done thus far, and obviously long may it continue.
Thank you. And I want to thank you too, because you've been an instrumental part of my achievements and how I feel about myself now. So
and I, really
I was fortunate. I was very lucky in meeting the right people at the right time, and believing what they said.
And I think for anybody who's watching this that listens to what Mel's saying, when you go into a facility, it is worth speaking to the instructors, because I think when you go into a gym and you see, you pick up on different types of characters. Now, there's a lot of people that aren't going to like my style of, I'm very loud. I've come into the gym before and I'm dancing and I'm singing, all that different stuff. There's a lot of people who are going to look at that and go, don't come and talk to me. But there's a lot of people out there that may, just as yourself, who needed that pick-me-up. But at the same time, when we were at Fairlawns, there were a lot of people who weren't like me, were a lot more reserved, and they didn't know any less or any more, but they had different styles of doing things. But it's worth, investigating your instructors and getting to know what's right for you, because there's so many instructors out there now to be able to go along. There isn't only MA Fitness out there. And it's finding the right person and getting that education.
The style you like, the person you gel with, and everyone's ideas are equally valid, aren't they?
They are, because if it works, as you said at the beginning, what works for one person might not work for another. So, my style of keeping your heart rate quite high and quite intense, that might not work for somebody else. So another instructor might. Obviously, I know how to adapt that now with the qualifications I've got. But in the beginning, when I was training you, it was all just intensity based, and you obviously worked quite well with that.
And whatever I wanted to achieve, you were always positive. Can I have a 32
in fact, I don't know if you remember this. You lost. We did your waist measurement about 2 months into your training, and you were absolutely over the moon. You'd lost. I think you'd lost 2 inches. You'd gone down to a 34, and I was disappointed. And I saw you peak up when that happened, because I really wanted you to have lost 4 inches, or I think you'd lost about 1.5 stone or something like that. You'd started to tone up. But I was quite disappointed, because you've been going to the gym so often and you'd be doing good things. So I wanted a little bit more out of that. And that's where you get that sort of balance where you were happy. I wasn't. Obviously, being a personal trainer, I'm never happy. And you could just keep coming up, and I could keep changing my level. You could keep changing your level. And I think we've got you to a level of fitness that I don't think you could ever have dreamed of having.
No, and I also think you never sort of underestimate what you have to do. Can I improve my shoulders? Yes, but it's tough. Can I have a 32-inch waist? Yes, do this and you will achieve it. And I like that. It's clear. It's and it's focused, and it's structured, and it works, and that's what you want. Do this, do that, and you'll get there. And I like that.
It's great, and I love doing what I do, and I love training people like yourself who are willing to throw themselves at it.
And so I love training with you.
Oh, I appreciate that, mate. I think what we'll do
It's
is
true.
we'll wrap it up there, because that is
Okie dokie.
that is everything. That's your fitness journey. So just to conclude, guys, please drop a like on this video. If you want to comment down below on how well Mel's done, please feel free to do so. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and yeah, hopefully I'll be up with more videos soon. Workout videos, more of these client stories, all these different things. And I'll speak to you all next time. Cheers, guys.